Hello everyone, it's Galina. For today's card, I'm going to use a large floral stamp from Studio Katia to create a beautiful background with embossing powder. Here I have my stamping tool ready and a large piece of vellum. It's a little bit bigger than A2 standard card panel, and you will need that extra space on vellum a little bit later. Before I will move to stamping, I want to create a space for the birthday sentiment in the center of this floral background. So to create a one-layered vellum panel, you have to cut a mask. I cut out mine using a nesting oval die from a piece of masking paper. If you don't have a masking paper, you can use a copy paper instead and place it on a vellum with a tiny dot of double-sided adhesive. And if you are planning to play with heat embossing on vellum, it's very important to remove all the static from it. I'm covering the vellum with a baby powder and move it all over the vellum with a paintbrush. After that, I can stamp the floral image with a clean Versamark ink. It's special sticky ink for embossing powder. Next, I'm adding a fine detailed white embossing powder all over the image. And I didn't remove the oval mask because if you do so, the powder will stick there too, and you will have to remove it with a brush. But with that mask, I protect the center part. Before I start melting powder, I remove the mask and heat the vellum with my super hot heat gun. You have to work fast on vellum to avoid any warping on it. The floral background is done and it's ready to the next step. I put the vellum panel to the stamping tool bag and I'm going to stamp this large sentiment directly in the center. I'm using a same Versamark ink, but this time I'm using another type of powder, a regular white embossing powder, because this image has some white lines and fine detail powder will not cover them properly. And again, I'm quickly melting all powder with a heat gun. And now my background is ready for coloring. I'm flipping it over and I'm masking the center of it again. I'm using a same oval mask. For coloring, I'm going to use a few pigment inks and a tiny daubers. I'm applying ink from the center to corners on each flower, and you can easily mix different colors on vellum. And it's better to use pigment inks because they will look brighter on vellum. You can color few flowers or all the background. I decided to apply inks all over it, even on small flowers. I love to play with this technique and see how fast it becomes colored. Next, I want to attach the vellum to the craft card panel. I put the card panel underneath and I'm going to secure it with washi tapes. If you want to get a nice corners on the card panel, just cut the excess vellum with scissors on each side like this. I always use only a super strong adhesive to attach the vellum to anywhere, but remember, a big amount of liquid glue can warp it. And I'm adhering those flaps to the back of the card panel, and I'm using double-sided adhesive tape. I'm adhering those flaps on 3 sides, and the last flap I left open. Just because at last moment I decided to add some colorful confetti inside of this vellum pocket. Some time ago I made such pocket with clear acetate sheet and I just love this kind of full panel shaker cards. So I put my confetti inside and close the pocket. Now I'm attaching the panel to the white card base using the same strong double-sided adhesive tape. And at last I want to add some extra on a card, so I put a lot of tiny pink crystals on flowers and my card is done. I absolutely adore the soft palette of this card and all small embellishments on it. Thanks so much for watching and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you next week. Bye!